Greetings, Darklings, from across the interweb. It is once again I, the Duchess Precious Ken, here for the Sounds and Shadows podcast. I can't wait to get into talking about the guest that I have today, a dear friend that I've covered quite a bit. But before I do that, I wanted to give a shout out. On Friday, I went out to Smalls and saw an absolutely amazing concert. It was a tour with Danny Blue, Morris Black, and Eva X. And it was such a perfect mixture of music where Danny's doing this very energy high, sassy, dark pop show, and Morris Black is this nonstop sonic assault, just bass enema that is hitting you in a physical way. And Eva X is kind of that spot in between the two. And it just was an amazing experience. I was blown away. They still have a lot of dates on this tour as they're making their way west. Go see it. Go check this out. This is a tour worth seeing. I even got here, I'll give a shout out, my Morris Black t-shirt that I got at the show. So another reminder, go see bands before you have to pay $200 for the ticket, and go buy a merch from them so that you have that to remember it by for good. So without further ado, this is an artist that I have followed quite a bit, has been on the end of the year best albums of the year for Sounds and Shadows multiple times, and has a brand new album that's coming out and hasn't up until now come on the show, even though we talk a lot because it's hard. They're in Europe. So this is great for some of our American fans that maybe aren't as exposed to what's happening in the goth industrial scene over in Europe. So without further ado, this is my dear friend Karl from the band Antipole. Karl, all the way from Norway, welcome to the show.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Katie. Nice to meet you. Nice to finally be able to catch up on video again.
Indeed,
been a while since we met. Yeah.
The last time we talked in person was out for the Cold Transmission Festival in Cologne, which was amazing. And you were playing guitar for I Am the Shadow during that one. Sitting in for them on that show to help out, which was really, really cool and great because you even played some Antipole songs that I had Pedro singing for on that one, I think, in that set.
Yeah, so we planned for a kind of special event. So it was, I played with them 2 other times as well. Then we played only I Am the Shadow songs, but this time we did 2 Antipole songs. So that was a lot of fun. Hearing Pedro do the songs, that was cool.
So I want to get into a lot and with Antipole, but I was starting out in this kind of asking, because I think it's a unique perspective when it's somebody where maybe a country like Norway that I don't hear a lot of bands in this scene come out of. And so I'm always interested, how did you kind of find this sound and it became special to you? You, I don't know, saw a concert, you heard New Order Movement for the first time, whatever it was, something happened and boom, the light went on and this is me.
Yeah, so I probably said this in written interviews before, but I'm traditionally, or earlier, I was kind of an indie guy. So I was listening to indie music for many, many years. And about almost 10 years ago, I met my now girlfriend or fiancée, Anna Crusell. And then we got together and she shared a lot of music with me. I shared a lot of music with her. And she was much more into the post-punk style.
Yeah.
And also new post-punk, not only Joy Division and New Order and The Cure, but also she was listening to, she passed away 10 years ago. So, and that's it started something.
See, that's really interesting to hear. I love hearing that your partner kind of opened you up to this, and it was something you absorbed and dove into head first and really, took to heart. That's awesome that you kind of got that love for this music from her, and it's something now you guys share together.
Yeah, so it started as a joke, kind of, because I said to her, because I've done music in other bands, and I said to her that I can do this music as well. So I went home, recorded some demos, and sent to her, and she liked it. So then that was the start. Yeah.
See, that I love that that came out, and this is something we got talking about because I mean, I would always say one of the things I love so much about Antipole and have made me such a fan of yours is that I don't ever feel like you were trying to reinvent the wheel, like change the sound of what post-punk is or do it in a completely new genre. To me, I feel like, especially the first Antipole album I heard, you took like New Order movement and technique and things like that, and you made 2021, 2023 technology available and refined it into something just purer, more clean, more clear. But basically those base elements were still all there of kind of what had come before. You just made them shine sharper and brighter. And so hearing that, like you kind of came from a point where you heard this from her and almost as a day, you know what? I could make that even better. I love that because that's kind of what I heard right away when I heard you. And I do. I think you have my favorite post-punk guitar tone in all of the scene right now. Like of all, the new bands out, I really do think what you do has the best sound. I could never have the patience. How much time does it take you to find the sound you're looking for to do a new song for an Antipole album? Like, do you sit there just with a pedal board or whatever on the computer and go just degrees one at a time till you hear it and find it?
It's first of all, it's very kind of you, Ken, saying that. I'm not
I
very
mean it.
focused when I write songs. I'm not very thinking a lot about how the guitar tone is. I'm just trying to be open and inspired, and just follow whatever the song takes me. So
Now, see,
and
that makes it even worse, Carl, because if you're just doing it by feel as a virtuoso, I
yeah,
figured you were one of those ultra nerds like our old guitar player Josh,
uh,
that it's so technical and so like listening to the minute details, but you're just Jimi Hendrixing that shit. What the hell?
I'm not a very technical guitar player. I've been getting better, but I think what you heard on the Northern Flux album, the first one, is it's not that skilled. It's very basic, kind of lo-fi, but done in a post-punk way with not that many elements in the song. So it's kind of pure in a you can love it or you can hate it, but it's very rough kind of way. So yeah.
Sure. Another thing when I think of Antipole, and I always say to people, and I've included in my reviews, is that you're one of those bands that when I hear it, I feel a place. Like I hear the
Uh,
music and I feel this kind of icy wind on my face and kind of these, aurora borealis type lights and crystal and I think of this is kind of the magic of being in the wilderness of Norway. It's just something I feel and take away. Like I went on a vacation. How much do you think? Because, as you've said, it's not like you're in a bustling metropolis all the time when you're kind of, how much does the world around you, the place around you, play a part in the music that you write?
it's hard to say when you're in the middle of it, because
Sure.
but I'm the music have always loved have it has often been about places or movies, emotions, feelings, and I've being I'm not I can be quite nostalgic or melancholic, so I like uh, the foggy forest and the mountains and the darkness and the like moody stuff. And you have got a lot of that around my house here in Norway. So I'm pretty sure that where I live have yeah made a
Kind of do that like when you're writing songs. I mean, maybe you're back in the studio and working, playing your guitar, thinking of it, writing, but do you also kind of, you're out for a walk, like you said, in the forest there or something, taking it, and you have song ideas happening in your head while you're kind of walking around and the things you see?
it's hard to see that because yeah I'm sure it does affect and impact music.
Yeah.
So and I've been listening to this Norwegian band called Bel Canto. Have you heard of them?
I have not. You have to send
No,
that over to me. Bel
it's
Canto.
yeah, so kind of ethereal baby music from the 90s. They
Ooh,
are so kind of Arctic, very in the northern of Norway. So give me those associations inspires me a lot. So and yeah, so I hope it's, and I've heard many times it's Norwegian or Scandinavian Arctic aspect to it. I'm glad to hear that. It would have been, yeah. So it's but it's nothing that I go around trying to do all the time. So I guess
sure,
it just
sure.
happens. But if you live here, it kind of you get
I
the
think
impact.
that's a big part of it. That's why it works. I think if you were trying to
Yeah,
infuse that, the feeling wouldn't come across as much. I think it comes across because it's just part of who you are. And so you write a song, that's going to be a part of it because that's part of your life.
yeah, I guess so. So yeah, I'm happy. Happy it comes around, or it can be heard in the music. So thank you.
So before we dive into the new album that I
Yeah,
want to, I hadn't talked to you since, and I have talked to Pete
yeah,
since done an interview. Your last album before this was a collaboration
yeah.
that you did with Pete Byrne of Kill Shelter. Tell me a little bit about why that was a special experience and getting to work with Pete and why what you loved about doing that record.
Yeah, so in fact, when we were in Cologne, um, I think that was the first time me and Pete talked about doing something together, and it was he that had the idea at first.
Uh-huh.
So I love the idea, and it took some time until we got to work on it. But Pete is he do things for real. So he plans and work hard and have good amazing ideas. But the basic idea was that we wanted to write music together, and so we ended up putting in or what became the final album. There are 4 demos or sketches from me and 4 from Pete. So it's very, you can hear, yeah. And also why I wanted to do it was Pete is I love Pete stuff obviously, but
Yes.
also from my perspective, I wanted to explore the because Paris, Alexander, and Iran stuff
Mm-hmm.
have been more more, I don't know, new order-ish, electronic kind
Sure.
of. Yeah, you can name drop different bands, but I wanted to explore the goth, a little bit darker stuff, a little bit more with
Definitely. And I mean,
and
it
hard.
was. I mean, it even in the word of it, it kind of had a very, I don't know, supernatural, haunted feeling almost to that record. I think that, when I was kind of saying instead of that crystal cold, icy, kind of feeling, it was very much when you're listening to that record. I don't know, almost like being in a haunted house, kind of hearing all the songs and the mood they would set for you.
It's very kind of you saying that. So yeah, I think we got very emotional during the process of recording, and when I remember a few times, 2 or 3 times, when Pete sent me or versions of the songs, I got goosebumps and almost fell into tears. So yeah, it was very it was a journey, and the result. I'm very proud of the result. So the album will live. I hope it will live longer than me.
Okay, Karl. So the next thing that I kind of want to ask you about and talk to you about is the new album because I feel like something that is different on this one, at least when I took it away and heard it when I did the review, is that you've collaborated and worked a lot with Paris in the past and Rennie, and I've always felt like your guitars and the music were very much kind of the, I don't know, the focal point of Antipole. And Paris does great vocals and they were there. But I thought this new album, it really put him to the front and kind of let him shine and show his vocal talents and Rennie, in as well on one song. But where I heard his voice in a new way I haven't really in the past. And it really made a couple of songs in particular shine for me. I remember calling out in the review, let me see here, it was Disjointed.
Yeah,
That I was just blown away. I was like, this is a pop song I can't get out of my head. The hook was perfect. It had a different feel, kind of like a brightness to it. And I fell in love with that song. It was incredible. And the vocals on it are part of what just popped out to me. What was going on for you that you wanted to do new for this record, that maybe, you hadn't thought about in previous Antipole releases?
Yeah, so on the previous albums that I've done with Paris and Irena, all the songs have been at least in the beginning, my demos, my sketches, my post-punk songs, and then they have worked on them, adding synth, drums, and vocals.
Yeah.
But the starting point were my songs, and so that makes sense when you what you say, because on this album I wanted to involve, or I didn't have as much ready material either, so I wanted to do something new, because it's boring doing the same thing,
You
as
always
a
have to be
musician.
growing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've done the thing with the Kill Shelter. So yeah, let's do something different again. So and I wanted to involve Paris Alexander even more. So and I had this idea that I wanted maybe more a different sound, a little bit more electronic, grim synth sound. Kind of. I've been inspired by many artists, but Trust. I've been listening a lot to Trust. Love those synths. On that the new album, it's 50-50, pretty much like me and Pete and on Kill Shelter collaboration. And maybe that's why I did it with Paris Alexander as well. Why don't do 50-50? So you can hear that, and I think that maybe gave. I hope that gave Paris Alexander more confidence, because I've always heard that he has had a beautiful voice, and some of the songs at least, but he's maybe been too shy, or maybe not believed hard enough in it. I never said this to him, but because maybe I get embarrassed when he sees
No,
this. But
I think
I
that's
think he
true.
shines more.
Yeah.
He's much leaning forward, and yeah.
I think the other thing I heard a lot on this record in terms of Paris voices, on the previous things he was singing on, he very much went to his baritone, his
Yeah.
very low kind of ground swelling aspect of his voice. But this one, there are definitely times where he jumps up higher in his range and register
Yeah.
and shows the flexibility that he has, which I think added more emotional weight, because he kind of used more tools out of the bag to get different emotions at different times when he was singing. And that's when I was hearing it, that's one of the things I was like, wow, where has this been? Like, this is a side of Paris I wanted to see. So no, that was, I think, really incredible. And I like that you said it does seem like he was involved earlier in the songwriting process on a lot of this, where it feels more like a fusion than someone coming in to add lyrics or vocals or things like that later, after a song was already there.
Yeah, so Paris Alexander and Irene have always been important and made contributed to songwriting and made a big difference. But I guess it changes the process when you start out 50-50 and you have you get maybe that 1+1 is 3 effect. At least that's what you hope for. So yeah, I love what Paris did on the album. So very pleased. And not a year ago, this album didn't exist at all. So it's fresh.
So I think going along with that as well, we kind of talked about the place and how that adds in doing this collaboration. Were there any other kind of themes or aspects, maybe of even just your life, that you think played a factor into doing the songwriting for this one, that, tied it all together as an album rather than a series of singles?
Yeah, so we should I guess we should have Paris Alexander because he writes the lyrics. And
Well, that's fair.
my contribution is more on the emotion and feeling and songwriting, emotions in the music. So I like to work with song titles.
Yeah.
That's my so most of the song titles are maybe my ideas. So, but I know that Paris has worked hard on maybe even harder than before, even more harder than before
Sure.
on the lyrics this time. So
I think that maybe is part of what shines through too when you talk
yeah,
about a confidence thing. If you really put meaning into your lyrics and time and depth and put your soul into when it comes time to sing them, I think it does. It
yeah,
powers through more because you're singing something you believe in. It's kind of almost like that old if you'll be a better salesman if you
yeah,
believe in the product that you're selling. I think that's true for lyrics too. If you really believe in what you're saying, you're going to deliver it with a confidence.
yeah. So and there was a key song in the process because it started out with me sending a song to him, kind of in the old way,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was cool, but not like wow, this is the best song. So okay, but then he wrote some stuff which ended to be the Bleach song, the third
Yeah.
song on the album, and he sent that to me, and I thought, wow, this inspires me a lot. So and I was on a vacation in France at the time, so I didn't want to listen much to it, but I knew that when I come home, I want to work on this. So and then that song made me, and I guess Paris as well, made us believe in, oh, we can do an album.
A new
We
album.
didn't know we didn't know about that, but oh, they just want to do this. So it was a joint thing, and I'm very happy for Paris Alexander that his voice shines the way it always had, but it
Yeah.
comes through more. Yeah,
No, I think that they can shine in different ways,
yeah,
and I think that adds to the power of the record. So now that you guys have this new record,
yeah.
to promote it, do you have any shows lined up or festivals for the future here that where people can see you play it live?
Yeah, so we don't do many shows, but we'll do one no, in a week, next
Oh
Sunday
wow.
in Germany. So at Wave Gothic Treffen. So that will be
I
very
forgot
nice.
that you guys are playing Wave
Yeah,
Goth, right?
yeah.
That's a really big
In
deal,
seven
Carl. That's a
days. Yeah,
huge show. That's probably the biggest goth show in the world. What does that
yeah.
feel like to be a part of that and to go out and play something that enormous for that many people?
It feels kind of weird because, as I said to you, this started Antipole as a joke. I can do
Mhm.
this as well, but so it will be, yeah, it will be very exciting to perform. Kind of, we have done shows before, big or not, at one or two festivals, but I guess this will be the biggest show, and we'll play at the same venue and night as Bootblacks and Traitors, KVB. So it's a fantastic lineup. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I was in Brighton a month ago rehearsing with Paris and Irena. So I think we're ready to go. So I'm excited to go to Germany on Wednesday and see a lot
Yeah.
of cool bands, including Buzzcole and yeah, Minute Machine and Callan Mikla. Yeah, a lot of good
So
stuff.
you shout out three great ones there. We're coming up to the end of part one of the interview, and so I kind of want to get into that a little bit anyway. But another aspect of what you do outside of the band in Antipole is, to me, you run one of the most comprehensive and best post-punk uh, DJ lists or Mixcloud lists that you send out to promote other bands in the scene, and in particular for Europe.
Thank
Like
you.
that is to me as somebody who's a music reviewer and tries to find out a lot of what's happened in the scene in the world. I always listen to your list as a way to find 8 bands I didn't know about. And you're very in touch in that. How important do you think that is to kind of absorbing and sharing and doing music, keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening with everybody around the world?
Yeah, I think it's thank you for listening to the
Yeah.
mixes, and I think it's very important. And it had, at least I think it had have made me inspired over the years to hear new stuff, and not only the bands you love, but can be exposed and trying to find new stuff. And when you find that very little band with 20 listeners on Spotify, and they just release a single and they've got a fantastic song, it's a good feeling. It reminds me of the 90s or early 2000s when you thought you had found something unique that nobody else knew about. Of course, they knew about it, but the world was different then. So none of your friends knew about it.
You know what? I feel like that's still happening in 2023, and I'm trying to do it every day still.
Yeah, you do a great job on that. Yeah.
All right, that is wonderful. So, like I said, we're coming up to the end of part one here, and I want to get a chance to spin out. We'd like to spin out to one of the songs off the new album so that people can get a taste of it, a feel for it. What is the one song? I mean, you already know what my favorite is, but if you were to pick one song that you think encapsulates this new album, that if people are going to listen to for the first time, that we can spin out to, that they can hear.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'll suggest Bleached, the third song.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because that was the key song that made us do an album and not only a single. Yeah.
That was that first one that you said over. Yeah. Okay, perfect. I love it. We're going to come back for part two here. So please join us back for that with Karl from the band Antipole. But we are going to first be spinning out off the new album Crystalline to the song Bleach. And please join us back soon. And here comes Bleach.